I'm going to be ranking the top wide receiver prospects in the 2025 NFL Draft. First, let's take a quick look back at my rankings from last year. There was loads of talent in 2024. I think my top 5 overall was solid. Basically, all these guys besides Odunze stepped into a situation where they quickly became wide receiver 1, which definitely helped boost their production, but all of them have made good strides so far in their careers and have been worth the draft investment. Now, continuing with the 2025 video, every year the NFL hype machine tries to convince us that the top 100 prospects are all studs and have Pro Bowl potential, but most of the time that ends up not being the case. There's also a lot of groupthink that occurs pre-draft where the consensus mainstream board has a great impact on people's opinions and not many stray away from it. But for this video, I've tried my best to not look at any mock drafts and to fully focus on scouting the number and not the name. So I had someone list for me all the wide receivers within the top 100 prospects on the NFL mock draft database, which is the consensus board. There's 15 receivers in total, and after watching the tape, I've come up with the following rankings. Unlike the cornerback position, I think 2025 is a solid year for receivers. There's like 4 to 5 first-round talents that can step in and immediately put up points for your fantasy team, but there's also going to be quality options on day 2. Now, when it comes to scouting receivers and separating the best from the average, I think number 1, you're looking for guys that can consistently get themselves open and can win against man coverage. The more ways they can do it, the better, whether they're winning with pure speed, quickness, or sharp routes, or with strength, etc. Then number 2, you try to look for receivers who are reliable at the catch point, guys who can find the ball and consistently catch away from their body. The room for error is very small in the NFL, and not every pass is going to be perfect. So ideally, you want to see less tipped balls and more catches from your receivers. All the other stuff is mainly icing on the cake, traits that can propel a guy to elite status, like yards after the catch. But firstly, you got to make sure that you have a good cake. So without further ado, let's get into it. Like I said, there's a lot of talent in this class, but someone has to be number 15. And it's going to be Elic Ayomanor from Stanford. Big Canadian dude who's looking to right the wrongs of Chase Claypool. At 6'2", 206 with 32 and 3/8" arms, this guy stands out on a football field. He's got a very strong build, and he's only going to be 21 years old at the time of the draft. Ayomanor's got NFL size, but also has noticeable long speed. He quickly builds up momentum and can burn a defense deep. He does his best work on explosive routes like slants and goes, where he can just step in and go full throttle. Once the ball comes his way, he can use his frame to box out defenders, and he's shown the ability to make some impressive contested catches away from his body. With the ball in his hands, he's big and fast, like I said. Not the easiest guy to bring down. He'll fight for extra yards, but won't break many tackles. Elic is also a visibly competitive player, very chippy on the field and gives it his all as a blocker. He's got some dog in him. However, Ayomanor is still very raw as a receiver, rough around the edges with most parts of his game. He doesn't have sudden quickness to win off the line. Defenders will misdirect him and then they'll stay attached. It takes him some time to build up his speed, so when he's facing tight man coverage off the snap, his lack of athleticism is noticeable and leads to minimal separation. He has mediocre start-stop ability as a big receiver, which limits his route tree. He does try to use head fakes to sell his routes, but it's still far from being a refined part of his game. With the ball in the air, tracking doesn't come naturally to him, and his hands are inconsistent and he will drop balls away from his body. He's a guy that'll probably have to develop as a backup for at least a year or two, because his game is just not refined enough at this point for him to just step in and start on the outside in the NFL. Elic's promising size, speed, and competitiveness will lead to some team taking a chance on him. That'll likely happen later in the draft, probably in round 4 or 5, round 3 at the earliest. Next up, we got Tez Johnson, first team all pipsqueak, 5'10", 154, and a 4'5", 140. Thankfully for him, the recent success of Tank Dell has proven that Tez's physical profile can work in the league. Johnson's got good explosiveness off the snap, does well to duck his frame to avoid contact and gain leverage quickly. He can win at all levels as a route runner, has the speed to win deep and the balance and agility to separate underneath. He can also be a target in the screen game. Johnson's full field prowess, advanced route tree, and variance in his stems make it difficult to anticipate his breaks. He's solid at tracking deep balls and usually catches with his hands. Once he corrals a pass, he explodes with immediate speed to gain yards after the catch, and is not easy to get hands on. On the negative side, he's got minimal play strength and can easily be misdirected by contact. His precision with his breaks is unimpressive, and his burst is just average. He lacks the frame to box out for passes and can get swallowed up by defenders. Tez's hands are inconsistent. He basket catches at times, and it's not super rare for him to bobble a routine catch. You also won't see him force many missed tackles. Overall, Tez can be a good rotational slot receiver who grows into his role. He knows how to get himself open, can attack any area of the field, and is crafty after the catch. However, he's very thin, and his lack of plus athleticism at his size will cool off interest. His hands are also not very reliable. I think he has a similar draft projection as Ayomanor, somewhere in the round 3 to 5 range, but Tez has more day 1 value in his role. Next, we got Savion Williams, a wide receiver running back hybrid from TCU. There's a lot to like with Williams, man. He's got unique size and athleticism. 6'4", 220, built thick, but also runs a 4.48. He's explosive off the snap and shows urgency working down the field. Even as a hybrid player, he's got impressive hands. He does a great job of using his strength to create space from defenders. He high points the ball well and can bring down some impressive contested catches away from his body. He's best with the ball in his hands. He has immediate speed and eats up arm tackles. TCU also used him in various alignments as a blocker, and he did a good job, showed plus strength and ability to sustain blocks. On the negative side, not a very twitchy or precise mover, still raw as a route runner. He lacks suddenness at the top of his stems. Savion's not a guy you can expect to create much separation off the line or later in the play. As a hybrid receiver, it's not easy to slot him into an NFL offense. He mainly serves as a gadget player, and teams are then forced to manufacture looks for him. We've seen guys like Laviska Shenault and Cordero Patterson come into the league with slightly better skill sets and physical traits than Williams and still struggle to carve out definitive roles for themselves. Savion can be a versatile chess piece, good kick returner, and provide immediate production on offense if he gets put in the right situation, but this archetype of receiver just hasn't had much long-term success in the league, which hurts his value. He's a plus-level football player, and I think a team will happily scoop him up in the third round. At number 12, we have Xavier Restrepo out of Miami. Now, his stock has taken a tumble recently after he had a rough NFL combine, ran a 4.85 40, which sounds like a time that Mekhi Becton would be excited about, and not a time you'd want from a slot receiver. Considering his size and athleticism, it's easy to just throw him down these ranks, but he's a quality player on tape. Restrepo has a clear role he fits in, and his skill set is well tailored to being that strong possession-style slot receiver. This isn't a guy that you have to mold and develop into a certain type of player. You know what you're getting with Restrepo. On the positive side, he's got immediate urgency in his routes, uses good balance and footwork to gain leverage, and he can manipulate defenders by varying his tempo. He's got a great feel for leverage, space, and timing. He's an exceptional route runner in the intermediate and short areas of the field, and he does an excellent job of angling his routes away from coverage to help his quarterback. He's also very tough and willing to get dirty over the middle. Restrepo is assertive with the ball in the air and will snatch it with strong, natural hands. After the catch, he can make quick cuts to gain some extra yards. However, he's got underwhelming explosiveness and speed, which limits his route tree and allows defenders to cheat when guarding him. His twitch is average at the top of routes. He struggles to separate against better athletes. He can also struggle with length. Restrepo's got a limited catch radius and is not a guy who's going to break a lot of tackles or take it the distance. Xavier's not going to wow you with his athleticism or crazy catches, but he's polished and precise with his routes and does the little things very well. Like I said, he's got a clear role at the next level. He knows who he is, and I think that'll help him transition smoothly to the league. He's a round 3 prospect. At number 11, we got Isaiah Bond out of Texas, another smaller frame receiver, but he's the complete opposite of Restrepo. Bond had an up and down college career. Overall, his production just didn't match his skill set. He's got very flashy and intriguing traits, but at the same time, you watch him and you think, is he actually a top prospect? Is Bond really a quality football player when comparing him to other NFL talent? He just seems like he should have stood out more in college. Looking at the positives on the field, Bond's got the best speed out of the top 15 receivers. He's very Waddle-esque in his movement. He can explode at any moment. He just glides down the field, a very fluid athlete. He flashes immediate twitch during his release and keeps defenders on their toes. He's sudden at the top of his routes, and you combine that with his intimidating speed, and it leads to him being a good separator and a guy that can succeed at all 3 levels. He tracks the ball well and has natural hands. He might not have the best catch radius, but he did have a low drop percentage throughout his college career. With the ball in his hands, he can be a home run threat if he gets some space. However, Bond still got room to improve with his release. He needs to increase his variance to not be predictable and to not allow press defenders to misdirect him. He struggles with physicality off the line, which was very evident in the Georgia game last season, and things are only going to be tighter and tougher in the NFL. He can also improve his route cells. He's got below average assertiveness at the catch point, doesn't fight for space well, and is not urgent with the ball in the air. He's limited as a blocker due to his frame. Overall, it's easy to see the vision with Bond. He's got electric athleticism and can be an immediate field stretcher and contributor as a kick returner. In theory, with his upside, he should be a top 60 pick at worst, but there are a lot more questions than answers with him. Didn't develop his game much in college. He struggled against press and had plays where he seemed uncompetitive, like he wasn't giving his full 100%. There are now additional rumors about off-the-field concerns with him, so his draft stock is difficult to predict. I would give him a 3rd round grade just off what we know at this point. He's definitely an extremely intriguing prospect, and I think a lot of teams are going to be looking into him. Now, the 10 to 6 range on this list is very difficult to rank, and I think for NFL teams, it's going to come down to what kind of skill set they're missing in their receiver room. So at number 10, we have Jalen Royals. He was the main guy on the Utah State offense, averaging over 100 yards per game. He's got prototypical size at 6'205". He looks like your standard do-it-all NFL receiver. He's got smooth, crafty footwork off the release, which lets him gain leverage. He also has the strength to overcome early physicality. Jalen's a 3-level route runner. He can win vertically, but he's also effective in the screen game, and he has a great feel for finding voids and zones. He's got solid suddenness at the top of routes, while also having plus balance and play strength. Jalen's very assertive when attacking the ball and consistently works back to the quarterback. He's a natural at tracking passes and can comfortably make over-the-shoulder grabs. With the ball in his hands, he's got great vision and can run through arm tackles. He consistently fights for extra yardage. On the negative side, he lacks plus-level burst and explosiveness, which allows guys to latch onto him early in his routes, and he's overall not a great separator. He also struggles to make grabs in contested situations when he's knocked off his route. Jalen looks and plays like an NFL wide receiver. He has a complete skill set, but just doesn't excel in any one area. He's not a consistent man beater and also has questionable hands in tight spots. He can be a quality rotational option who works his way up, but he's not a plug-and-play stud receiver. Royals kind of reminds me of some of the receivers down in Green Bay. Overall, I think he's a late second-round talent. Next, Jayden Higgins, Iowa State. If you're looking for a cheaper Tedero McMillan, this is probably your guy. Big frame receiver, 6'4", 214 with 33 and 1/8 inch arms. He also had 90th percentile explosiveness scores at the combine and ran a 4.47. He's got good ability to win off the release. Even at his size, he's got an explosive first step and efficient footwork, and he does fairly well to overcome physical defenders. He's well balanced and isn't easy to misdirect. He's got good long speed and is effective working down the field. Jayden's physical once the ball gets thrown his way. His big frame is overwhelming for defenders. He's great at tracking the ball and has good hands. After the catch, he's got plus straight line speed. On the negative side, he's got mediocre start and stop ability, which limits his route tree and allows defenders to sit on his breaks. This also leads to not much separation and a lot of contested catches. His hands are good, but nothing special. He also lacks wiggle to make guys miss once the ball's in his hands. Overall, Higgins can play inside and outside and be a big-bodied wide receiver too. He's got a rare athletic profile, leading to him being a mismatch for most defenders physically. However, he struggles to separate due to his poor change of direction, which limits his ceiling. He'll likely go in the second round. Next, Jaylin Noel, also at Iowa State. Noel's got electric athleticism, lit up the combine, 90th percentile athlete, and finished with a top 100 all-time relative athletic score at the receiver position. He's mainly a slot guy due to his smaller frame. Looking at his selling points, he's got immediate noticeable explosion and urgency in his routes. He's got good twitch to avoid contact and gain leverage off the line. Extremely fluid mover, he can alter his tempo and cut on a dime to create separation. He can also turn on the jets to win deep. Noel's a 3-level player but does his best work when he's going vertical or working in the intermediate area. He plays with plus toughness and is willing to take hits over the middle. Once the ball's in his hands, he's got the speed and quickness to gash defenses if he gets some space. On the negative side, he's a small guy with a thin frame. When he's working on the perimeter, he struggles with length and physicality on outside releases and often gets forced to the sideline. He's got below average skill at the catch point. Noel's got short arms and a limited catch radius but also suffers from concentration drops. He's frail as a runner and won't break many tackles. Overall, Jalen's got noticeable athleticism. He's got field stretching ability, but is also a plus route runner who creates plenty of separation. He is limited by his length and size though and can be unreliable at the catch point. There's a lot to like with him and I think he can immediately contribute as a starter. His athleticism gives him a high floor. I think he's a lock to go in the second round. Next, we got Bech out of TCU, a prospect that is very easy to like, technically sound, and is competitive on every play. Jack's great off the release, very refined with his footwork, and varies his approach and stems from down to down. He works hard to get open. He'll release outside, then break back inside, or vice versa. Just doesn't make it easy to anticipate his route. He can win at all three levels and is a solid route runner. He's precise with his feet. Jack has a very good feel for holes in coverage and how to angle his routes to exploit them. He's also a strong dude at 6'1", 214, and can use his play strength to win at the top of his routes. Down the field, he's got good ability to adjust the passes. He fights for his space and is assertive. He flashes great late hands and is reliable. After the catch, he uses solid jukes, but most of the time he just puts down his shoulder and fights for extra yards. On the negative side, his burst and suddenness at the top of his routes is unimpressive. Separation doesn't come easy for him, he really has to work for it. Jack doesn't have great long speed or twitch. Overall, he's got promise as a power slot. Jack lacks sexy top-end quickness and speed, but he has basically everything else. He's a pure football player and also has a natural feel for how to get open. This is another guy that I think goes in the second round. At number 6, Tre Harris, another big guy from the Ole Miss receiver factory. He comes in at 6'2", 205. He's urgent with his movement off the snap. He's a strong dude and does well to fight through press coverage. Tre didn't run many complex routes at Ole Miss, but he did show plus lateral twitch and precise footwork in his small sample size and non-hitch and go routes. He can win at all levels. He's got good straight line speed and executes double moves well. Where Tre shines the most is at the catch point. He's got exceptional ability to use his strength downfield to create space, and he turns small passing windows into comfortable grabs. He can catch away from his body, and he brings down some spectacular grabs. After the catch, he's fast and powerful, not easy to bring down. He's also a good blocker who can consistently sustain his man. On the negative side, his explosiveness and burst when changing direction is average, which gives defenders more time to close on the passing window. Tre also has room to improve in terms of attacking and high pointing the ball with his hands more consistently. After the catch, he doesn't have much wiggle in his game and won't make many guys miss. He did have some injury issues in college, so that likely will impact his stock. Overall, Tre's a possession receiver with NFL size and speed who's very good at bullying his way to passes in tight spots. He's had some A.J. Brown-esque moments in his career so far. I think he'll be able to extend his route tree in the pros and be a productive starter. He's a second-round talent. Finally, to the top 5, we're in first-round territory, and we're starting with Tetairoa McMillan, another one of these Drake London, Michael Pittman-style athletic 6'4", 6'5" receivers. McMillan was super productive at Arizona over the past 2 seasons and has become one of the most talked-about prospects in this year's class. He's a good athlete at his size, moves with great fluidity and balance, and has solid change of direction. McMillan has a great feel for coverages. He knows how to find voids. He's aggressive in fighting back to his quarterback and limits break opportunities for defenders. He tracks the ball really well downfield, and his size is overwhelming. He consistently high points passes and has strong hands at the catch point, as well as an impressive catch radius. Once he secures the ball, McMillan quickly turns into a runner and makes good cuts and always fights for extra yards. On the negative side, there's not much juice or wiggle in his release, which allows defenders to get hands on him and misdirect him. He doesn't pose much of a vertical threat. McMillan has a lot of room for improvement in terms of selling his routes, and he gets himself into too many contested situations. He's also easier to tackle than you'd expect for a guy of his size. Overall, he's an outside possession receiver with rare size and ball skills that can gash defenses all over the field. However, his lack of lateral agility and explosiveness limits him against man coverage as he struggles to create separation, and it leads to a lot of contested situations, which isn't the most sustainable way of getting yards from a receiver. As mentioned before, we've seen this physical profile have success in the league recently, so I think teams will be confident that Tetairoa can replicate the kind of production guys like Pittman and London have had. McMillan's a mid to late first round guy for me. And now to the top 4 guys, the cream of the crop of this class. I think these 4 can step in and immediately be difference makers. At number 4, Matthew Golden from Texas. The guy's electric, his release is elite, immediately explodes with lateral twitch, very difficult to get hands on him, and he can switch gears and manipulate his tempo with ease. Golden's very difficult to stay close to, and he also has home run speed. His route tree is limitless, his breaks are sudden, and he explodes out of his cuts, creating a lot of separation. He's got great ability to track passes over his shoulder, and he plucks the ball out of the air with confidence, and he stays focused through traffic. Golden's also got good yak ability. He's quick with the ball in his hands and can make guys miss. There aren't many weaknesses in his game, but his play strength is unimpressive. He can be knocked off his route. Golden tends to basket catch on body targets, which can lead to occasional drops. He's got a smaller frame, so his catch radius isn't anything special. Overall, he provides value at all 3 levels and can consistently win against man coverage and make contested catches. He's got all the makings of a star receiver, and I think he's a mid-first round prospect. At number 3, we got Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State, a do-it-all slot receiver. This guy's incredibly polished, but also very gritty and tough. He's got everything you want in a football player. Egbuka flashes a great release, excellent hips and twitch to avoid contact and gain leverage. He uses angles and rhythm to fool defenders and has smooth change of direction ability. This allows him to run a wide variety of routes in the short and intermediate areas. He's sudden before his breaks. Egbuka is not easy to misdirect. He's strong and can win physical battles on his routes. He's also smart and consistently finds voids and zones. With the ball in the air, he has exceptional late hands, which makes it very difficult for defenders downfield to break up passes. He's also great at locating the ball in contested situations and has strong hands to bring down passes. Egbuka's got great ability after the catch and is effective as a gadget player as well. He can juke by defenders, but also has great contact balance. He's elite as a blocker, maybe the best in the class. He shows great effort and can overpower defenders and sustain blocks. There's so much to like in his game. On the negative side, his burst is just average out of his routes. He does have to work extra hard to create separation at times. He's also mainly a short and intermediate player and doesn't have the speed to be a natural vertical threat. Overall, he's a game changer at the slot position and a guy that brings consistent effort and high-level play. His proficiency, fluidity, and feel for the game is very reminiscent of Amon-Ra St. Brown for me, except Emeka's bigger and more physical. I think he can be a franchise player and be a key piece in a good offense. He's a mid-first round pick for me. Now to second place, we have Luther Burden out of Missouri. This guy's a serious playmaker and has the skill to become a star player very quickly. Luther's got average size at 6 foot, but a strong 206 build. He's got sudden bursts off the line and plus twitch to avoid press and gain leverage. He can then hit a second gear and threaten deep. Luther's a good route runner. He sells his routes well and is shifty at his breaks. Where he really shines though is when he's around the ball. and when he has it, he's very good at adjusting to passes. He's strong enough to win hand battles downfield, has great timing when attacking the ball, and consistently high points it. He also never shies away from contact and is comfortable making grabs in traffic. Luther's got natural hands and consistently plucks the ball away from his frame. Once he secures a catch, there's nobody in the class better than him at gaining extra yards. Defenders bounce off him. He's got elite contact balance as well as an explosive first step, great long speed and wiggle ability. He's got a versatile skill set, can line up basically anywhere, and can make plays in a lot of different ways. On the negative side, there's still room for him to improve with his release and route running. He can add more nuances to really bring him to an even higher tier of receiver. He definitely has the athleticism to be an elite guy when it comes to route running. His burst out of his breaks is nothing special. The more concerning thing with Burden on tape is just inconsistent effort. A noticeable number of his routes were run at half speed. He did have to deal with poor quarterback play and a stale offense, but it's still not a good look. There have also been reports recently of him having questionable practice habits and maturity. If true, that might bring him down on some big boards. So that's part of the puzzle that the fans aren't privy to. Overall, Burden's got plenty of star talent and can be a do-it-all wide receiver one in the league. I think at his best, he's the most skilled receiver in the class. However, his inconsistent effort as well as his rumored off-the-field behavior are concerning. He's a mid-first round talent, but he could drop based on some of the things we've discussed. Finally, he was ranked at number 2 in my cornerback video, but Travis Hunter is the number 1 wide receiver in the class, and I think this should be his main position in the league. He's twitchy and explosive off the release and can vary his stems to keep defenders off balance. Travis can win at all levels as a route runner. He's got great long speed, but is also quick and elusive out of his cuts and sudden with his movements. He's elite at making last-second alterations to his routes to beat coverages and create bigger throwing windows. The area where he really separates himself, though, is with his ball skills. He's got superhero-like ability when it comes to catching a football. Travis is elite at tracking passes, always finds the ball and is unfazed by defenders in contact. He has impeccable closing bursts and competitiveness in the air. He's got exceptional hands and consistently makes strong grabs away from his frame. Travis immediately turns into a runner after the catch and has explosive home run ability, and he always looks for extra yards. He's also an overall elite competitor that gives it his all every play. On the negative side, he'll need to continue to add nuance to his release because he allowed defenders to get hands on him too often in college, and he doesn't do well in strength battles. He also got away with some slow releases that won't work against NFL corners. His play strength can be an issue when working on the perimeter, as defenders can box him out on the sideline. Overall, Hunter's got world-class ball skills on top of great athleticism and twitch, and has the skill set to be a star wide receiver 1 in the league. I think he's most effective when working inside and also when he's being motioned around. A mainly perimeter role would limit him due to his unimpressive play strength and thin frame. He's an early first-round pick as a wide receiver, and I think that's the position for him. Wide receiver highlights his ball skills and minimizes his strength issues much more than the cornerback position does. He also faced mediocre competition in college as a corner and struggled in the one big matchup he had against McMillan. It's not going to get much easier in the NFL. So those are my thoughts on the 2025 rookie wide receiver class. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to leave your ranking, and also make sure to subscribe if you like the content. Thanks for watching, and I'm out.